All right, welcome to Weekly Wise today. We're glad to have you all here, excited for this. Just to introduce people who aren't familiar with Weekly Wise, if this is your first time, to know a little about who we are, what we're doing here. We began Weekly Wise about 6 months ago now, I'd say, around April or so. And it's something where we created a space for people to come share something that they are passionate about, something that they have a message to share, something they love, and just create a stage, a platform for people to share that. Because I believe very much that when we share our why, when we share what's behind what we do, we find it inspiring to each other. We inspire each other as we share what motivates us. And so many people have so many great messages that can inspire us and that can resonate with us. And also we can take some nuggets away of how we can take that inspiration and make our lives just that much better each time. So we started with that kind of a vision in mind. We also had a very immense amount of Ben & Jerry's ice cream left over from the free Cone Day event that we did and sponsored for them, and well, for us here in Utah. And so we wanted to figure out how to get rid of some ice cream. So we figured this was all a natural fit together. And then also be able to have a platform where we can express some of the things that drive and motivate us that we really care about. So we'll cover all of that a little bit today. And it is my privilege to get the chance to introduce Tiffany Chandler as our speaker, our lecturer at today's Weekly Wise. She is an amazing mother. She is an amazing babysitter. She has come and babysit 11 kids where the oldest child was 7 years old. And to her, that sounded like an idea of fun. And so if that doesn't qualify her as amazing right there, I don't know what will. She's fantastic. And every time we come home, she's been there with the kids, reading them stories, and they've been they love Tiffany. So it's been great. Also, one other thing to mention, she just recently won the Mountain, thank you. The Eagle Mountain Arts Association Award in the adult division for her short story, and that's being published in an anthology coming up soon. So that's an awesome, exciting thing for her. And with that, Tiffany, come on up. The stage is yours. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. So this is Weekly Wise. What are you passionate about? Rather than tell you what I'm passionate about, I'm going to show you. And for that, I'm going to need a helper. So, Amy, can you try to help me? This is our story bag. This is going to help us make a story tonight. Can you pick two things out of here to help us make our story? Two, just two. We don't have time for an epic saga. There we go.
Amy, make sure you're on the video.
Right here. Okay. Amy has chosen a blue flashlight and a princess puzzle for us. Thank you so much. You go down there and listen? All right. Now, since we have a lot of children in our audience tonight, we are going to make this more appropriate for them. All right, so once upon a time, there was a witch. But she wasn't the type of witch you usually think about. She did wear a pointy hat, but she was not old. She was not ugly. In fact, she was only 8 years old. Now, lots of witches have to have at least one magical item. Most of the time, it's a magic finger. This witch, her name was Amy, and she had no magic fingers. She had a magic toe, but it was always in a shoe, and so therefore very hard to use. She did have a special spell, though, which was kind of annoying. She could eat anything she wanted as long as there was a puzzle of it first. Not only that, but she had to put that puzzle together. So if she wanted an ice cream sundae, she had to have a puzzle of an ice cream sundae, put it together, and then a magical ice cream sundae would appear. Now, unfortunately, it often happened that the most delicious things had the most pieces for their puzzles. One day, the electricity went out, and Amy was so hungry. She wanted popcorn and cookies like nothing else. But the lights were all out and it was dark outside. And so she had no candles. All she had was a blue flashlight. So Amy took the blue flashlight and put it in her mouth. And she got out her popcorn puzzle. Just like that. She got out her popcorn puzzle and her cookies puzzle, and she had to think, did she want cookies with macadamia nuts? Because that was an extra 50 pieces to do her puzzle with a flashlight in her mouth. So she finally decided she did not want macadamia nuts in her cookies. So she did first the popcorn puzzle, but since it was a magical puzzle, the pieces kept popping up. So she had the flashlight in her mouth and was trying to do a puzzle. It kept popping up. And every time she got a couple pieces together, they would pop up again. Finally, she decided she did not want popcorn, but she was going to have those cookies. And she put the flashlight in her mouth so that she could have both hands to try and put the puzzle together while the electricity was out. And she pushed them together as fast as she could. And finally, she had that puzzle together, and up came a plate of cookies. And they smelled so good, and she ate one, and they were delicious, and the lights came back on. The end. So that is what, thank you. That is what I love to do. I love to make stories. And usually, it's either bedtime stories for my children. I have 4 children, ages 6 and under, and they have quite the appetite for bedtime stories. Or I also write novels and short stories. Sorry, I'm gonna do this. I love writing stories for a lot of reasons. One reason is that it's an escape. Sometimes reality is just hard, and you don't want to be there for any longer. When I was a kid, I was the type of person, my parents would come up to me and I would be sitting there reading a book. Tiffany, and I would just keep on reading. Tiffany, keep on reading. It wasn't until they touched me on the shoulder that I suddenly came out of my imaginary world in that book and was cognizant. I love immersing myself into those worlds. I love learning about other things. I love learning about how people can react to each other. I love witty dialogue where people don't have to stop and think. It's wonderful. I love stories. I love to have something that can help me to feel happy when I want to feel happy, a comedy, or something that can help me to think deep thoughts, deep philosophical thoughts. I love stories. I love everything about them. Now, I was not an early reader. I did not start reading until I was in 2nd grade. I had decided that reading was hard, and I was not going to do it. So there. But in 2nd grade, my 2nd grade teacher tricked me into reading. And she did that by realizing how competitive I am. She started a competition for who could read the most pages in a week. Well, all you got was a little paper certificate, by the way. But I was going to bring that paper certificate home every week. And suddenly I was reading anything I could get my hands on. I was just reading, and I blew away the competition with that, and I was reading. That teacher tricked me into reading, and I've loved it ever since. But it wasn't until I was in 4th grade that I knew I wanted to be an author when I grew up. My best friend and I, who I had been best friends with since kindergarten, had a bit of a falling out, and she left. I suppose when somebody moves away, that's called a falling out, right? But I had not had to try and make friends for so long that I was shy. I had no idea how to make friends. So I was that lonely little girl on the playground, and my best friends were books. I just read book after book after book, and it made me happy. And that was when I realized that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to write books for the lonely little girl on the playground. I wanted to write her friends for her. which sounds a little bit pathetic, but really it was a good, noble feeling. I wanted to write things that would make people happy, the way that books were making me happy then. And that was one of the reasons why I decided that I wanted to learn how to write, was why I wanted to be an author, was for that little girl on the playground. Another reason why I love writing is because I need to create. And I firmly believe that everybody needs to create. Human beings just have this innate desire within them to create. In fact, ecclesiastical leader Dieter F. Uchtdorf in October 2008 said, "The desire to create is one of the deepest yearnings of the human soul. No matter our talents, education, backgrounds, or abilities, we each have an inherent wish to create something that did not exist before. Everyone can create. You don't need money, position, or influence in order to create something of substance or beauty. Creation brings deep satisfaction and fulfillment. We develop ourselves and others when we take unorganized matter into our hands and mold it into something of beauty. You may think that you don't have talents, but that is a false assumption, for we all have talents and gifts, every one of us. The bounds of creativity extend far beyond the limits of a canvas or a sheet of paper and do not require a brush or a pen or the keys of a piano. Creation means bringing into existence something that did not exist before. A colorful garden, harmonious homes, family memories, flowing laughter. What you create doesn't have to be perfect. Don't let fear of failure discourage you. Don't let the voice of critics paralyze you, whether that voice comes from the outside or the inside. If you still feel incapable of creating, start small. Try to see how many smiles you can create." And for me, that's a hallelujah, amen. Everybody can create. You do not need to be a master artisan in order to create something. You can make mud pies. My 2-year-old daughter makes a mean pile of rocks. She does, and it is an entire city. And in fact, what do you guys see here?
Infinity.
Infinity, snow, ice cream.
Good.
It's a blank piece of paper.
An open opportunity.
There we go, open opportunity. There's nothing here. But with little or no talent, my daughters and I made something that I think is beautiful this afternoon. We turned nothing into something. And none of us have ever taken an art class. There's another reason why I love to write that has really come into me lately. I've started immersing myself in the writing community because, dang it, I am going to be a published author and I'm going to love it. And I'm going to do it over and over and over again. But there's a lot to learn. I've started going to symposiums and conferences and workshops. I've met other authors and writers. It's a really friendly, amazing community. I've been researching, I've been studying, I've been listening to writing podcasts, and oddly enough, I've been writing. I've actually been practicing my craft. But one of the other things that you have to do is you have to research the market. Because if you want to actually sell a book, you have to see what's selling. So I've been reading especially a lot of young adult books. And I find myself repeatedly let down when I pick up a novel and I'm reading and I'm like, oh, this girl is awesome, or this guy is awesome, and oh, what's he gonna do next? I love this. And then I turn the page and I'm like, ooh, skip that chapter. And because I want to have a clean mind. I can remember things from years ago that I have read in books. Apparently I have a brain that is adhesive, particularly for foul things, because foul things that I have read before or seen just stick in my mind. And years later, I can't tell you anything else about the book that I read, but that foul, disgusting thing will pop up into my head every once in a while. And I don't want that there. I want my head to be unpolluted. And I don't want to have to worry about picking up a book and something like that sticking to my brain that's going to pollute my brain for the rest of my life. And even more importantly, I don't want my children to pick up a book and have that stuck with them the rest of their life. And there are so many books out there now where you're reading it and you're like, this is so exciting, this is so awesome. My daughter is going to read this and she's going to want to be like this dynamic character. And then you turn the page and you're like, oh, a dynamic character who thinks that intimate relations are okay before marriage, or that it's okay to steal, or that it's okay to fill in the blank. I don't want my children to be like, this character's awesome. And because they're so awesome in all of these ways, everything they do must be awesome. And that is why I feel personally that I am supposed to write. I am supposed to write good, clean things for people to read. I want there to be an option on the shelf where you don't have to skip chapter 3. You don't have to skim over that paragraph. It will be clean, it will be exciting, it will be fun. I want to create, and I want to do that. And once again, I'm going to ask you what something is. What's that? An empty page? What's that?
Another one.
Another one! How many trees went into these empty pages? Lots and lots of empty pages. Probably can't tell very well on the computer, but yes, this is an empty page. Now, what's this?
A typed on page.
Yeah. There we go.
Story.
This is a story. Where there was nothing, there is now something. There is a whole new world in these pages. And that's the joy of creation. I was able to just out of my head and with the computer and with a lot of work, make something. I made a whole new world that I can escape to. It's far from perfect, but I'm learning and I'm getting better and I still enjoy it. Anybody can create, whether it's with a handprint to make a pretty flower with your 2-year-old and 4-year-old and 4-month-old, or if it's typing up a story, or if it's making a pile of rocks. Anybody can create. You don't need that talent. Somebody once said, and I'm going to totally fob this quote, I'm quoting somebody else quoting it, in fact. Dan Wells on the Writing Excuses podcast quoted somebody else who said, anybody can tell you that you can't write. I'm going to change that to, anybody can tell you that you can't create. But you're the only one who can say that I don't create or I don't write. Somebody can say, oh, you can't paint. But we did. We did. We painted. We created. Sorry. So that's why I write. I love stories. I love to make those stories. I love to see people laugh. I love to see people cry. I love to see people sit on the edge of their seat. What's going to happen next? I love to be that person. I love stories. I love to be like, oh my goodness, I can sit down and open a book, and even though I am spoiled, I am terrified of seaweed, I can go deep sea diving, and I don't even get wet. And somebody who is afraid of heights can go skydiving. Somebody who doesn't know anything about Egyptology can read a book and suddenly they know all about the tomb of Tutankhamun. Reading stories books, they teach us not only about nonfiction sorts of things, they teach us about human relations, about how people react to each other, about how to make witty comments, if you have, you know, as long as the writer takes to write it. Writing is my passion. I love writing, and I know that I am supposed to write, and that I am going to write those books so that people can have things to pick up and read without skipping chapter 3. And you can create too. Like I said, with a pile of rocks, a handprint with paint, or typing on a keyboard. And that's all I have.
Okay. Thank you very much, Tiffany, for that inspiring message. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming here and for all of us together creating this exchange, this powerful experience. So next, we're going to introduce Bonnie Parks, and she is going to share, speaking about creation. It's a mentoring network, and it's one in which we all endeavor to be conscious creators. We all are creating something continuously. The question is, how conscious are we of what we are creating? How intentional are our creations? So I'll go ahead and turn it over to Bonnie.
Thank you, Ryan, and thank you, Tiffany. If we were all here together, I'd just ask you, and I can ask you, how many of you loved listening to Tiffany today? Woohoo! I loved it. I love this sweet little painting. I love her story at the beginning, and I love this idea that we can all create. And I just think that that is amazing. One of the things that really matters a lot to me is the idea that everyone has a work, or some people might call it a play. I kind of tend more towards work. I don't know why I missed that boat. Something marvelous that they can do on earth. And I believe everyone has something marvelous to do on earth. And it's fantastic when we meet someone like Tiffany, whose passion for what she does is so big and her direction is clear because she can just feel so strongly that. So I want to share with you just a little bit tonight about my story and my passion, and then share some invitations for you. So 5 years ago, my husband and I were living across town, and we had Amy, who you saw at the beginning, and Noelle, who's here on the couch. They were our babies, and I just found out that I was pregnant with number 3. And at that time, I was on medication for anxiety, and I don't even know how to explain how I was. I would go to the places that I would have to go, and then I would come home, and I would sit on the couch. And then I would take care of a child that needed to be taken care of, and then I'd sit there and zone out. And I would, like, despondent would probably be a good word. We were also looking for a house to buy, but it was around that time that we bought this house and moved. My husband and I were busy at church. We had a lot going on, but I just couldn't connect with being happy and even being okay at that time. And so we went ahead and moved, and so all our new neighbors came to visit us. It was Christmas time by then, and they came to see us, and I would shudder when the doorbell would ring. Oh no, some wonderful, nice person is coming to introduce themselves, and I will have to talk to them. That was the place I was in. For a few months afterwards, I kind of canceled life other than taking care of my family. I didn't get involved in my next church congregation that we had moved to. I mean, I would go, but I wouldn't involve myself. I didn't try to go out and meet other people. I read books because I always read books. That one's never going to go away. And that was one of my escapes or my coping mechanisms, as well as a sense of progress. But I would do the bare minimum. Like the things I'd always done, I just scaled back down to what do I absolutely have to do. And other than that, how do I get to be okay again? So I was in that space for 6 months maybe, and then slowly started putting some pieces back together. So that was just to give you a little snapshot. Fast forward to today. I'll tell you a little bit about life today. Now I have 4 children, and far from doing the bare minimum with my children, I homeschool them, and we spend many lovely hours together studying and learning and playing and laughing and sometimes fighting and all the other things that we do. And I have found more of my mission. I have found my avenue of creating that brings me purpose and passion and joy, far from wanting to sleep in and sleep as much as I can and avoid life. I get up between 5 and 6 in the morning and get started, and it's usually okay, I'm awake, it's time to get going kind of feel. I mean, I'm not chipper per se, but it's not hard for me to get up because I have a lot of really exciting and important things to do. So one of the things that we created was Weekly Wise from this creative energy. And I have found there's a few things that really motivate me to create. One of them is programs and learning opportunities and opportunities for people to develop themselves. That matters a lot to me. It's mattered a ton for me because that's been the avenue of my transformation from this depressed, despondent woman to who I am today. Has been a journey of mentors and personal development. So I am really excited when I get to share something that I've learned that's helped me with other people. And that is part of why Weekly Wise is so good for me personally and so inspiring to me. And then the other thing that I really, really, really want to create is a very specific kind of family. I won't go into all the details right now, but I think a lot about what is this family I'm creating? And what are we going to be like in 20 years and in 40 years and in 60 years? And what's our family going to be like then? And what do I have to do right now today so I can have that family then? And so I can have a family today that I'd like to have today. And what a journey that has been. And so I share all of that to kind of preface some of the things that I want to invite and share at this time, because these are the things that have helped me on my journey. So one of the big things is finding mentors, and you can have a mentor about anything. Tiffany shared about how she's networking and going to conferences and getting mentors for her about writing. And did you know that you can find a mentor to teach you anything? You just find someone who's doing what you want to do and doing it well and happy doing it. And that's a person that you would want to learn from and emulate. So this mentoring network that Ryan mentioned is a group of many, many mentors on various levels, some of them world-class and well-renowned mentors. And they share what they have learned and the success they've had in life. And we're associated with a company called Strongbrook, and Strongbrook has put all of these mentors together in one big group. And so tonight, as I'm telling you about some things, I'm going to just demonstrate with some objects. This is a little off topic, but my job at church right now is to teach singing to the 3 through 8-year-olds. And so when I thought about how to share with you, I thought of what I would do with the little kids. So I hope, well, it's kind of a theme today, talking with little kids. So I think it'll work. So I brought our little tablet to show one of the things that the Mentoring Network offers is some of this wonderful mentoring content in a free app. So there's a premium access that you can pay a subscription for. You can also get the free app, and that's our free gift to you tonight. And before Weekly Wise began, we shared with Tiffany and her husband and got them access to the free app. And so you can just look up on your app if it came in all the way. We have a code. So if you will go to your app store, whether Android or Apple, and just search for Strongbrook, 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 and you can download that free app. Go ahead and do that now. And then as you download, there will be an opportunity to put in an access code. And so we're gonna share with you Tiffany and James's new access code. You can put it on. If Ryan can figure it out while I continue talking, because I don't know a lot about how that particular part works. So that's our first free gift. I have a few other things that I want to share with you while they continue looking at that. So in our personal development journey, one of the things that we have just recently added that has been very impactful and amazing for us is an event called Limitless. And I have one of my friends that came to Limitless, two of my friends that came to Limitless, as well as Ryan, who are here with us tonight. And it was a powerful and amazing experience. So what Limitless is like, it's a 3-day event, and it's for creating the lives that we want. So what better to create than the lives exactly the way we want? And we get really useful and practical ways to create this life that we want. We get clarity about what it is that we want with our bodies, with our finances, with our personal missions, with our relationships. Those are the 4 focuses that they focus on at Limitless. And so getting clarity about what we want and also breaking through those things that hold us back from getting what we want. So I know a lot of us have, like Tiffany was talking about, I can't, but you're the only one that can choose, I don't create whatever it is. So we all have those kinds of beliefs in us that are holding us back from what we want. And Limitless is an opportunity to really look at those, look at the things that are stopping us and have some experiences that help us really break through and break free from them. So it has been a powerful thing for me. The reason why I'm holding tickets is that we have access to very discounted tickets to the next Limitless event. And so we want to invite all of you to join us at Limitless. And if you are interested in those tickets, to let us know and we can give you the access to those tickets. So the next Limitless event is October 15th through 17th in Salt Lake City. There are also events in November and January that you can participate in. So next in my bag of tricks is, I don't even know what this thing is. It was just like what I could pull off, some sort of whistle instrument kind of thing. So I got this to represent a tribe. It's a stretch, but just go with me. So part of this Limitless event, there has also been created what they've called the Limitless Tribe, and it's a gathering of people who participated in Limitless and want to have continued support and breakthroughs of their limiting beliefs and the things holding them back. And so in this Limitless Tribe, every other month, I believe, we're going to have one night where we come and have an experience together just for a couple of hours. And that is an experience that is free and that we can bring guests to. And it's actually just this next Wednesday night in Provo. And so it will be 6:30, we'll be mingling and hanging out a little bit, and then 7 o'clock we'll start the evening. And so that is something that you are all welcome to attend, and it will also be live streamed. So if you're too far away and you want access to watch that event, you can come and check it out. This would be like an introductory thing. You could come and see the Limitless Tribe event and see if the whole 3-day Limitless event is something that you're interested in. Next, as part of this Limitless training, those of us who have created Weekly Wise have chosen into even more in-depth mentoring and training in this belief breakthrough process. And as part of that, Melissa, who's Ryan's wife, who is part of the Weekly Wise committee, shall we say, Melissa and I have chosen to start doing belief breakthrough processes with people in an individual one-on-one mentoring kind of setting. Right now, we are both in the process of setting up our businesses to do this mentoring. And so right now we are having free appointments for Belief Breakthrough. So if you're just wondering what on earth I'm really talking about when I say Belief Breakthrough, and you just want to check that out and see, feel free to let us know tonight or on our Facebook page, and we can set up an appointment with either Melissa or myself to do a Belief Breakthrough process. So I got the ribbon to remind you this is about Belief Breakthrough. This was actually when my husband started his business. It was his grand opening ribbon, and he cut it and we broke through. So that's what we want to create. One last thing, and this is a special offer tonight only. I want to introduce you to some of our friends. Ryan should do this part. He's awesome with his friends. Here's his friend. Do you want to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, tell us about your friends.
This is Benjamin. Everyone say hi, Benjamin.
Hi, Benjamin.
This is Ulysses. Everyone say hi, Ulysses.
Hi, Ulysses.
This is Andrew. Everyone say hi, Andrew.
Hi, Andrew.
This is Alexander. Everyone say hi, Alexander.
Hi, Alexander.
This is Abraham.
Hi, Abraham.
This is Thomas.
Hi, Thomas.
This is George.
Hi, George.
Yeah, so we believe that if money is truly to be used for good, that's our birthright, is to be able to create true value, worthwhile, and peace. And money is an integral part of that creation. So when we say our money friends, that's the relationship we want to have. And we also believe that if you like money, money will like you back. And it's a good reciprocal relationship of creation.
Thank you, Ryan. So the reason I bring up the money friends is to tell you about a very special offer and opportunity that we want to share tonight. And that is something that my husband, Matt, who you saw at the beginning of the broadcast tonight, has created. Matt is very, very interested in numbers and spreadsheets. Like, very interested. I have a funny story about it I'll tell you sometime if you're interested. And so he loves to do the budget. He loves to figure out stuff. We'll be talking about something and they'll say, oh, I made a spreadsheet for that. And of course, he made a spreadsheet. It's just something that happens. So in harmony with Matt's love and passion, he specifically really loves to budget and to understand the principles of budget as well as the practical aspects of budgeting. And so he has created a course where he says through his course, you are then able to create your financial fortress. So budgeting ceases to be an expletive. He gave a Weekly Wise talk about this. Some of you will remember. It ceases to be a bad word and becomes something that really empowers and helps you to create this good relationship with money and to really be able to direct your money where you want it and invite more into your life. And so his program it's starting just this Thursday. That's why tonight is the special offer. And this is kind of his maiden voyage of this particular course. He's done mentoring with it before in a longer extended kind of program. Now he's shortened it down and is doing a group mentoring process. And so if you are interested, it's going to be starting this Thursday night, and he's offering it for less than his own cost just because it's his first go around and wants to get some feedback and that kind of thing. And I'm just going to say without any bias at all that just because it's his first go around does not mean it won't be fantastic. I'm going to participate in the course and I'm very excited. Even married to him for almost a decade, I know I have a lot to learn from him about this, and so I'm very excited. So that is our special offer tonight. So if you are at home, if you will just leave a comment on Facebook about which of those things that I was sharing is most interesting to you to learn more about, then we'll be happy to get you more information. And for those here, we have some feedback forms where you can let us know what you would be most interested in learning more about. And with that, I think it's time for the, oh, yes. We have one more comment from Tiffany, and then we're going to announce next week.
Hi, I just forgot to say that people think they are busy. Life doesn't get a ton busier when you have 4 children ages 6 and under. And I was able to write a book. So you can create, even if you've got crazy things happening around. My goal was a page a day. That was all. It took me 9 months to write my first book, but I wrote a book. And so just set little goals for creation if you need to, but you can do it. That was, sorry, I just forgot about that. I wanted to say it.
No, I really appreciate that, because when I talk about events like this, those are some of the things that people often say. I don't have time to go to those kinds of things. I don't have the money to go to those kinds of things. Or I don't, my personal favorite, I don't have the babysitters to go to those kinds of things. My belief is if it's something that you really feel called to do, that you will find the way and that you will be so glad you did. This isn't to push or tell anyone what they are supposed to do, but if you feel like this is something that resonates with you, something that's important to you, please do it. Oh, and did we find the access code?
Yes.
91544.
Okay, so on your app that you downloaded, when you get to the access code part, it's 91544, and then that will give you access to getting that app. And now, next week, thank you, Ryan's reminding me. Next week's Weekly Wise, our presenter will be Dale Bartlett. And do you remember what his is
Yes,
called?
I do.
Ryan knows him more than I do, so we'll turn it back over
He's
to
written
Ryan.
several books. One, Day Trips Around Salt Lake City and Have Kids Will Travel. He and his wife have had so many amazing adventures, and they refuse to believe that they don't have money to travel. They do not accept that idea. And I heard them speak. It's so inspiring. Not only do they just go out of the box. They have all sorts of tricks that they've learned. But not only that, but they've created powerful memories with their travels, with their journeys, that experiences that the typical tourist doesn't get, you know. And so I'm so excited to hear from them. And so now to finish tonight's Weekly Wise, we'd like to bring Tiffany up, and we'd like to do what we fondly call an unboxing. This is half baked. This is the ice cream that Tiffany chose. And so we're going to go ahead and pop this wrapper and present it to Tiffany. Oh, my head, hi. So thank Tiffany for coming, and hope you have a great night.